Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Mortification Monday. Let's just jump right into it. This is going to be their fourth overall studio album called Bloodworld. And yes, that is a Steve Rose signature on that. I was fortunate enough to find a copy of that on eBay and got it, and it was signed. So this is the intense version of the CD. So you have a kind of you got the back of it there, and lyrics are kind of handwritten, and looks like they're handwritten here. So um, and you got that, and then you have the back with the picture of the band at the time. So of course, you got Steve Rowe, bass and vocals, Mick Carlisle on guitar, Phil Gibson on drums. Phil Gibson, of course, taking over for Jason Sherlock, who had announced after Post Momentary Affliction that he was going to be leaving the band, although would come back to join them for the Live Planetarium album. Um, Give you another look at the cover here. This was kind of a retouched, kind of a touched up version, thanks to Scott Waters and the No Life Till Metal crew for the Intense Records box set that came out in 2020. Um, and then, of course, the 2020 edition of, or 2017 rather, excuse me, uh, vinyl edition on Soundmass. So very cool, very good album. I take it back with what I'm saying. The Mick Carlisle era is just such a strong era. I mean, let's look at it this way. Every album you had something very different. You had a very raw, very thrashy style on the debut, as well as Break the Curse. But that was Cameron Hall. Scrolls of the Megalith, you go full on death metal, full grind, full thrash, and you have a mix of songwriting. You got Jason Sherlock contributing. You had Mick Carlisle contributing, Steve Rowe contributing, everybody, and you just have this amazing tight death metal sound. You go to Post Momentary Affliction, goes more in an extreme thrash metal, not quite as dark heavy as Scrolls of the Megaloth, but still a very strong album. Mostly just Mick and Steve providing songs this time, um, but showing off just how tight of a unit these guys were. And then, of course, Live Planetarium comes out, and they showed again just amazing how good they sounded live. So they bring in Phil Gibson, and trust me when I say this, Phil Gibson is no slouch. He is a monster behind that kit. Young kid at this point too. I think he was about early 20s, I believe, when this came out. So let's break the songs down. Um, we have starting off, we have Clan of the Light. Um, Man, what an opening song. This is a song just showing about again being the light of the world. But boy, this song just puts the pedal to the floor and just keeps rocking. Man, what a great opening, great transitions. Steve's vocals here, more of a kind of a raspy shout kind of a vocal, as you don't have that deep guttural like you had in Scrolls and Post Momentary Affliction. Um, Still, I got a lot of great parts to this song, great grooves. Blood World, um, the title track, wow, what a groove, what a feel to this song. There's just a bright happiness about it because it's essentially it's like I've said about the band. Mortification is a Jesus metal band. So if you haven't figured that out yet, maybe you're just not listening to the lyrics that closely. But this song is just a call to arms. The blood of Christ is what unites us. It doesn't look different to anybody. far as God's concerned, he created, all men are created equal. We all bleed the same. And, it's just the blood of Christ is what unites us. Great, strong riff, great song. Probably one of my favorites off this album. Starlight, we have one of this one's written by Mick. Here again, another banger, just a great riff, banger, groove, uh, song throughout this whole thing. Good song about, maybe sometimes you just got to look at the sky and just question, but you just got to hold your strength and keep going, just a moshable, extreme track, absolute banger. Your Life is uh, another banger of a track that you would hear on, maybe some live albums later. This would be a favorite. Um, again, yes, you're going to have life. Life is going to be full of despair, but it leads to repentance, and it's just, it's just that cycle of where it goes towards. Strong, strong track, great long. Um, Monks of the High Lord. This would be one of the epics of this album, talking about a monk, an order of monks who just live in a grinding silence, in order to just drown out the noise of the world. But boy, when you listen to this song, ain't nothing silent about this one. This is a thrasher, banging song. Great grooves, great nice parts in between. Great interplay with Mick and Steve here, just again showing just how tight they could be. Symbiosis, um, with an added intro. This was be on the Live Planetarium album, a Mick Carlisle written song here. Adds a nice little intro, makes you think, oh, this is going to be a power ballad of sort. No, goes straight into this just absolute groove that still slays me to this day. I love the riff for this. You get a nice thrashy rock and roll section in the middle. Another just a great epic track. Absolutely love Symbiosis. Love Song. This was another one that you would hear mentioned and featured in some medleys and on live sets later on. This would be a favorite amongst the band. Again, a Steve Rowe written song. Here again, this is almost like a lamenting song about, but how people choose to live their life sometimes. And sometimes they just die and they don't know what it's like to have Christ in their life. Absolute great rocker. Again, just a call to arms to bring folks into Jesus. Live by the Sword. This one's another Steve written song. Um, the Bible is called the sword, the sword the sword of the word. And this basically says whatever the version of the Bible you read, whether it's New Century, New King James, NIV, King James, Living Water, whatever it is, if you're reading the word, live by it. Okay. Great, great little thrasher, simplistic song here. JGSH. This is another quick thrasher. Jesus grinds Satan's head. Um, Basically, it's all it is. Really quick, in and out song. Dark Illusions, written here by Mick Carlisle, ends off this great album. Concludes it with an absolute energetic thrasher. Um, sometimes we as humans, we still have to live with our sin and lust for darkness, but boy, we still have, there's still light at the end of all that, and that's what we call for. Steve does pull some nice growls into this song, and then that just concludes this album. I always thought Scrolls would be my favorite album, but boy, this is a strong, strong contender. Man, I love these. Again, I just love how different every one of these albums with Mick sounded. And I cannot go, um, I just can't let that slide. Mick's rhythm ability and tying in with what Steve and Phil or Jason were doing just sounded amazing, and they sounded so tight. There's maybe not a lot of guitar solos on there, and there's just enough for the song to make it there. But sometimes the songs didn't even need that. They always had these good tights, rhythmic parts. Um, this version here, this is from the Intense box set. This also features 4 bonus tracks. One song called Entering the Eternal Dawn. There's not really a lot of information about this song, but man, this is like a 6.5 minute banger thrasher. This would have fit probably around the Scrolls post Momentary Affliction era. Very goes back to the deep guttural vocal on this. Really, really strong track. I don't know why it didn't make an album, but go figure. Um, Mick, Steve, if you're reading or watch this, let me know. I'd love to know. 3 live tracks, Bloodworld live from 96, Your Life from live 2001, and a medley, uh, which usually consisted of, um, oh, I'm trying to remember, Your Life, um, Distarnished Priest, I should know this, and I don't. Anyway, it's still a great medley where they try to mix some of the older songs into this album. So anyway, there you go. Blood World. Looking forward to talking about Primitive Rhythm Machine next week. As I said, this ends an era. This would be the last album that Mick Carlisle would be on. They would do a tour with this, but after coming back from the tour, there were just some financial and some other issues surrounding the band. And in order for Steve to be able to go on, unfortunately, it seemed like he had to go on without Mick and Phil, which was a shame because they just sounded so tight together. So we move on to another album where it's actually recorded in the States. So that's going to be next week. So again, let me know what you think about Blood World. This was actually one of their more commercially successful albums. But again, a favorite amongst me. And again, it's a sad one because it does end of an era, but it is still a great album. So check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Until next week, rock forever, y'all. We'll see you soon. Take care.